Hello everyone, I am Cyrus Hojadi. Well, it's been a while that I haven't made a lot of videos regarding these gold pumpers, these gold gurus, precious metals dealers. Not to mention these are the same people that tell you the dollar is going to collapse, that you shouldn't get into the US stock market. Well, Mike Maloney is a guy who I haven't made a video in a long time, but I have made videos about him several years ago. And if many of you don't know who he is a precious metal salesperson who has been telling a lot of people, well, the dollar is going to collapse, the monetary system is going to reset or go through massive dysfunction. Buy gold, buy silver, it's going to rescue you. And I have made a lot of the videos regarding him, as you can see right here. This video right here, which has only been the video that I have had that has been actually been taken down, supposedly due to copyright claim, but all I was trying to do is debunk his claims and expose the truth, has been taken down by YouTube. And let me show you a little bit about what it was.
A lot of these maniacs out there, a lot of these gold pumping charlatans and everything.
Less stuff because their stuff is expensive in America. So they start printing a bunch of currency and dilute their currency supply. And so it's a race to the bottom, basically.
Oh my God. Can you believe this? I mean, look.
And then again, I realized then back in 2013-14 what a joke he was. And he's still a joke. And what's even worse is that this guy has not experienced a massive meltdown in his support, in a point where a lot of the people that got conned and burnt have not all come together and fought back. And remember, let's get an idea of who this individual really is, because he circles around with other types of pumpers, whether it is Robert Kiyosaki, whether it is just a lot of these individuals. You go down the line, Greg Manarino, Kerry Lutz, I believe, what is this guy's name? David Morgan. You know, I have exposed these guys several years ago, and now it's been several years later, and where are these guys now? You see, this guy is a salesperson. He has a miserable track record. You want to talk about gold and silver? Let's take a look at the track record. And as you can see right here, gold peaked in 2011. If you got in, you listened to the Fabers, the Schiffs, the Maloney's of the world, well, guess what? You would have lost your you-know-what, and you would have looked like a true dumbass idiot. But, on the other hand, you could have made a lot of money in the general stock market. And as you can see here, since 2011, it has basically nearly tripled its value. So, what does this tell you? This tells you that these people have miserable track records. They make you miss out on a lot of opportunities. And it's no wonder why, because this guy allies himself with Robert Kiyosaki, why the rich keep getting richer and everybody lags behind. Because either they're in a secret club or they know something special. Well, these guys are not going to make you know something special. And by the way, speaking of salesperson, notice how this guy, unlike Peter Schiff, doesn't promote equities, especially overseas equities. Why? Because he doesn't sell you that. That's the bottom line. And this is what they do. They tell you the top 10 reasons. So they're trying to smear as much as nonsense as they can, propaganda, to give you fear and anxiety to want to push you and buy precious metals. And look how they use cartoons to kind of show people in a way that people are dumb and naive enough, like they're children, as if that they are going to be so desperate into buying gold and silver. That's the bottom line you have to understand. And one of the things, of course, is that I believe that they are really, really part of the precious metals manipulation. And this is one of the saddest part, is that why haven't there been a lot of people making YouTube videos, coming together, exposing this guy, waking up tens of thousands of his subscribers, and not to mention getting traffic away from his channel. More importantly, also, that the regulators, particularly the Federal Trade Commission, the SEC, would do something about this, but they're not. What happened? Whatever happened to accountability? You see, this is the really, really sad and depressing part about all this. But they're telling you, oh, well, they're printing money. You got to buy gold. Dollar's going to collapse. And haven't people woken up? Why don't people look at their track records and realize who these people are? It's so sad. It's so disgusting.
Gold and silver. Though they were all very good reasons to own gold and silver, they weren't the reasons that I buy gold and silver. So here you go, a countdown of the top 10 reasons that I buy gold and silver.
And how about top 100 reasons of why you shouldn't buy gold and silver? Because it's not something that actually functions or generates wealth and productivity in the real economy. Doesn't offer you dividends. Keep that in mind.
Top 10 reason number 10. All the world's currencies are fiat, and fiat currencies always fail. 99.9% of the world's population is unaware that we no longer use money. We use fiat national currency.
So he's telling you that basically the dollar bills you have in your pocket is not money. Well, I don't know about you, but money is defined as legal tender that you can buy goods and services. So if that store across the street takes my dollar bills to buy goods and services, then that is technically money. But again, he's using this propaganda. He's using this fear-mongering tactics to scare you and to buy gold. And he's telling you, well, buy gold. And you did it in 2012 and 2013, and you lost your you-know-what. You've been lied to. You've been hearing lots and lots of propaganda. And it's really sad that more and more people like sheep continue to fall in his boat. Yeah, currencies are going to reset. It's going to collapse. Rush and buy gold and silver. Get out of paper. Somebody investigate this person.
What is a fiat currency? Fiat currencies are faith-based. They are national currencies that are not backed by anything of value like gold. Instead, the government just declares that they have value, and as long as the people keep believing, they do have value, and the people accept them for a while. But here's the thing. There have been
Okay, they have value because they are backed by the U.S. government. That's why. That's one of the things. They are backed because of the fact that they are still offering people credit and loans to people. Okay, it's still being used around the world. And the value determines really on the consumer to a large extent. You see, he's just telling you that people are stupid and naive on why these currencies have value. But again, one of the reasons why we use fiat currencies is because we're in the digital age. We want to transfer dollar bills across the world and across from one transaction to another. So it doesn't make sense to just have precious metals as somehow money. In other words, if I want to transfer money through a Venmo account, how would I do that? But then again, this guy is just totally misleading you. And it's just so hard to believe why people buy into this, because they use these cartoon type documentaries to lure people into this. That's a sad reality. Now, again, I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm pretty critical of the Federal Reserve. I'm pretty critical of really the monetary system, the fact that it has interest in the system to basically rip people off, put people in a trap. You can argue that we could get rid of usury in our banking system. We could have postal banking, local banks, a lot of different things. But to say as if that paper money in general is just a terrible system is such a really flawed argument, in my opinion. Because remember, it's who controls the money supply. It's how it works.
Thousands upon thousands of fiat currencies throughout history, and they have all failed, 100%, no exceptions. But there is a vast difference this time around. Since 1971, for the very first time in history, all the world's currencies are fiat currencies simultaneously. Remember this as we progress through the top 10. All fiat currencies fail.
And doesn't mean that the US dollar is going to fail anytime soon. It doesn't mean that you just have to rush and buy gold and silver. Because the gold's bull run is over. It has its cycles. It had it in the 1970s. It had it in the last decade, ended in 2011. And pretty soon, it's going to keep on falling and falling like it has been. Look at the cycles. And I wouldn't be surprised several years from now, gold is going to fall to $800 an ounce. Maybe perhaps even $500 an ounce. And if that happens, you're going to look like a big damn fool. You are going to be embarrassed. You're going to be shocked. You're going to be disappointed. That is the harsh reality of what's happening. And I don't know what to tell you, man. Not to mention you're going to miss out on a lot of other assets that are going to gain in value.
Reason number 9, the current state of the global economy. Throughout history, societies have swung back and forth from quality money to quantity currency and back.
And again, one of the things that they do, of course, is that they talk about, the global economy is flawed. So they'll be right on a few things. However, that does not mean that what they tell you is going to happen or what they're offering you is going to be the savior. This is one of the things that you have to keep in mind. This is how con artists get their message across. Now, if you look at his pal, Robert Kiyosaki, he'll tell you, school is not helping you. You work for money. You got to know the difference between asset and liability. And all that is true. But a lot of what he provides, if you take a look at his seminars, if you take a look at his investment recommendations, you got burnt. So this is how a lot of these con artists operate. So I just want to know, why are people more and more taking this guy seriously? And why haven't there been a lot of people exposing this individual?
Originally, quantity currency took the form of debased coinage, like gold and silver, that has been diluted by adding cheap and abundant base metals such as copper. Then it took the deceptive form of national currencies that were initially backed by money. In other words, they were claim checks on gold. But once these were established, governments then changed the laws to make fraud legal so they could print claim checks on gold that didn't exist. The next step was to sever the connection between money and currency entirely. Back when we used real money, gold would automatically balance all economies. When one country would experience an economic boom,
and the reason they change is because society has changed. We're in the digital age. And by the way, this guy is here to tell you that mainly inflation is due to the currency. And that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of factors, and I have talked about this before, of what causes inflation. Drought, Certainly that's one factor. Trade deals causes inflation. Oligarchies, which leads to lack of competition. Corporate greed. If you look at much of the increase in home prices, some areas are getting massive jumps and some areas are not. So a lot of that is due to credit, which of course, yes, it is a product of the Federal Reserve. But then again, a lot of that other reason has to do with material costs, labor, restrictions on land and height. You have to look at certainly a lot of different variables of why inflation actually happens. This is some of the things that Mike Maloney, or what some people like to call him phony Maloney baloney, doesn't really tell you. Then if you look at healthcare, it's our healthcare policy that's causing it. You also have to look at college tuition. It's that easy credit or the ability for tuitions to go up, knowing the fact that people are willing to pay as much as they can to go to school. This is one of the things that you have to keep in mind. So inflation is not all entirely or mostly caused by the monetary system. So this guy is totally misleading you. Certainly Wall Street speculation on the commodities market plays a very significant role in a lot of these different things. So anyway, this guy is just, I don't know what to tell you, man. But if more and more people are going to get burnt by this individual, I hope more and more people wake up and come together and hold this guy accountable. Because it sounds like if he has been misleading his people for several years, it's probably best that you actually contact the Federal Trade Commission and do an investigation about this individual. Anyway, I don't have a lot of time to make more. Thank you guys so much. Please spread this video. Do the best you can. And hopefully we can make better investment decisions in the future. Take care.